What's up, guys?
CBS Fox Video presents a collector's preview. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. I wasn't going to waste the Force to become a Jedi like my father. Over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights and Guardians of peace before the dark times, before the Empire. An adventure unlike anything on your planet.
Whoever that tags in, I hope you all don't mind, but I'm watching the collector preview for back in the day. The VHS collection from the 1990s.
And villains. Now I am the master. You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. The story of a boy, a girl, and a galaxy. The Force will be with you. Always. Star Wars, the saga begins. The adventure continues in The Empire Strikes Back.
What's up, guys? You guys doing?
Vader wants us all.
He doesn't want you at all. He's after somebody called Skywalker. A saga of rebellion.
We're on our way.
Behind the scenes Star Wars here tonight.
An epic of
Well, old school action. Star Wars The Jedi. Used to be on VHS when I was a kid. Found it on YouTube here.
and the climactic clash between good and evil. There's no escape. Don't make me destroy.
Thank you all for liking up too.
The
Appreciate
Empire
that.
Strikes Back. The battle for freedom rages on in Return of the Jedi. Fighters coming in. Here we go again. The cunning of the enemy. Soon the rebellion will be crushed and Skywalker will be one of us.
Roblox? No, I don't play that, buddy.
You must confront Vader. The power of evil is Return of the Jedi.
What? Go check out my live streams. I've got some
With you for the best
gaming,
price ever.
channel
From
stuff
Star
out there.
Wars to Jedi is
I do
also
Fortnite.
available at a
Did
new
some
low price.
Hogwarts earlier.
This stunning documentary takes you deep into the fascinating world created for the Star Wars trilogy. Immerse yourself in the
Now,
mind of
we're gonna watch
George
a little
Lucas.
Special effects is too
behind the scenes Star Wars.
Special effect without story.
Old school behind the scenes Star
From
Wars.
storyboard to creature creation, from character development to the puppeteers who gave them life.
Eventually, you actually take a real person and stick them into that character, and that real person brings with him or her an enormous package of reality. I mean, 3PO is just a plastic.
Yeah, if you guys want to watch this, this is on YouTube. It's free.
Join George
We're up to
Lucas
3
and
likes.
friends for a delightful
Thank
look
you for
at
that.
From Star Wars to Jedi. Hello, TV Land. Collect the complete Star Wars trilogy one by one in their attractive new packages.
I gotta refine
or
this.
in
I gotta get
collectible
this on
gift pack.
VHS
But
again.
don't
All
stop
this.
there. From Star Wars to Jedi, the fascinating saga behind the saga will make your video library complete.
No.
They're unlike anything in our
You
galaxy.
can find it for free on YouTube, and you can at least if you got 2 screens, you can watch it alongside me. I I mean, I won't even be able to show
Check for title availability.
the picture
wherever
anyhow.
Videos are sold.
So.
And now for our featured presentation.
What's up, Elevator? How you doing, man? Elevator.
10 years ago, in a galaxy very, very near, George Lucas imagined a world no one else had ever seen. When he placed it on screen in Star Wars in 1977, he asked us to see it through the eyes of a restless and idealistic young man, Luke Skywalker. Through 3 films, Luke would travel to the farthest reaches of his galaxy, seeking adventure and manhood and wisdom. It would be a perilous journey, for this was a universe in turmoil. The forces of light and darkness locked in
Star Wars. Definitely Revenge of the Sith.
Lord of the Sith, exemplar and symbol of all the
Speaking of
evil
Sith.
Luke would ultimately have to confront, Darth Vader. On his long journey to that final confrontation, Luke would take strength and wisdom from a gentle, perfect knight. Remember, a Jedi can feel the Force flowing through him. And take knowledge from astounding sources.
True. Or try. There is no try.
Along his way, he would discover that, like everyone else, he contained all the world's possibilities within himself. The dark side, of course, as well as the light. There was a bold and beautiful princess at the center of his universe.
We got some hearts. Hell yeah, thank you.
Han Solo, hot pilot, cool adventurer, was a man.
Give me a sub if y'all are new too. Appreciate it. Just so you know, we are normally a gaming channel. And if anyone's into reaction videos, I do have a backup channel I'm trying to get off the ground. It's called OG Reactions. I'm only at like 30 subs. I need like 20 more so that way I can actually do live streams like this off of it. Like I said, this is my main channel, my backup, my gaming channel, but anyone wants to look into that, that'd be cool. It's got a picture of like God of War in the background and like two Star Wars pop figures. Alright, so let me just get right back up into live here.
3,721. Never tell me the odds.
Lando Calrissian, that charming rogue, joined the Brotherhood of the Brave in The Empire Strikes Back. Their allies came in many strange shapes and sizes, and sustained them in every climate, even against impossible odds. But finally, a man must confront his destiny alone.
Let me done with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
In Return of the Jedi, Luke would reach the heart of darkness, his terrible temptation. The vision was unprecedented. So was the task of placing it on film. This is the saga behind the saga.
The making saga.
Phoenicia, 1975. The Star Wars company arrives at its first location. Besides conceiving and writing the film, George Lucas served as director. On such a complex project, that's at least one job too many, according to George. George co-wrote The Empire Strikes Back, oversaw pre- and post-production, and Irving Kershner directed. All the saga's directors. The newest member of a very exclusive club is Richard Marquand, who directed Jedi.
In the desert near Yuma, Arizona.
Someone to look up when that gentleman died. I think his name was Irvin Kershner, the director of episode 5, Empire.
We worked 4 weeks to realize what George and Richard had planned months before on a model. George was everywhere as we geared up to shoot. Here he's checking storyboards with designer Joe Johnston.
Very much appreciate the hearts. Thank you.
Well, as the fighters go in, we assume that the rebel cruisers also start to go in.
Yeah. He even turned up at my costume fitting.
If anyone's trying to watch along, I'm watching Star Wars. Well, from Star Wars to Jedi, the making of a saga. I'm 10 minutes in. It's free on YouTube. It's behind the scenes of Star Wars. So.
Jedi was more than a saga's climax. It offered George a chance few filmmakers
for those of
get.
you who are here chilling with me,
to
thank you
improve on ideas, settings, and characters he had introduced in his earlier works.
It took so much effort to get up to speed, which was essentially to make the first film. And I created this great world, but I didn't have the fun of being able to run around in it. Now that I knew the world and I could see it, and it was a real thing, it brings up all kinds of ideas and things, funny moments and adventures that you could have in that environment that you've created. And I never got to exploit that. I always felt, when my first film was that if I went back and make another film in that environment.
Also, just so you, anyone who's watching right now, I'm almost at 1,100 subs. Once I hit that, I'm gonna do another 8-hour continuous live stream. I did that a couple months back when I hit 500. I know that's weird, 1,100 but I mean, whatever. I'm gonna do another special little stream for that. We're almost there. We're about like 40 some odd like subs away from that. So.
Remember the Star Wars Cantina? Everyone loved it, except George. This was one of the things he always thought could be done better sometime.
Well, I'd always wanted to have the cantina be more than what it was. It was originally designed to be lots of very exotic creatures, and when I shot it, I just didn't have the money, and the makeup man missed Bill and couldn't finish the masks, and so I was always left with
a makeup man, so
sort of a less articulated monsters and less effective scene than I thought was necessary.
This is the monster rally of George's dreams. The setting is the palace of Jabba the Hutt, godfather of the galaxy and host to aliens from 1,000 worlds.
Just because I'm really not trying to get copyright for this stupid shit.
Aided by other craftsmen, worked 13 months, the last 6 of them on a day and night basis, to translate the maquettes into full-scale clay models of puppets and masks. Well over $1 million was spent on creature development and construction. Molds were made from the clay models. From these, the monstrous faces and forms took shape in latex and rubber. Painting
This
was
is so cool.
painstaking.
Movies need to go back to this, man. Like,
maybe they were not of this earth, but they had the scene.
This is really, like, this looks so much more realistic, if you ask me, than what movies do nowadays with CGI. Like, you'll never get, like, puppeteer level and actually creating stuff for, like, latex and mold and things like that, like they did back in the day. if anyone's interested, 15 minutes in to from Star Wars The Jedi, making of the saga.
The work wasn't finished. For most of the featured creatures had to be able to express themselves. Some of these big guards, for instance, would have a large range of facial movements available for their close shots. The muscles controlling expression were actually either wire cables or air tubes connected to a bellows out of camera range. Over the months of work, something of the personalities of their creators just naturally worked its way into the finished creatures. Size Noodles, lead singer in Java's band, began her career as a dancer. But Max Rebo was first and last a keyboard artist. George made frequent visits to check on the progress of the creatures as they were being.
We got anyone in the chat? I was wondering, is anyone down for potentially, if I were to ever do a watch party series for the Clone Wars Cartoon Network series, anyone be down for that? Do that soon.
Well, it would have to be what it means is we'd have to figure out a way of opening the mouth and make it at least open and close. The thing is, it doesn't have to be articulate. All it has to do is be able to open and close. It's a binary system. It goes like this, wow. This. And that gives us some room.
Well, if anyone's interested in what I'm watching, like I said, this is free on YouTube, behind the scenes Star Wars. About 16 minutes in, Star Wars The Jedi, the making of the saga.
Miss Snooty's basic movements were provided by puppeteer Tim Rose, working below her stage.
Thank you
His
for
legs
that.
were connected to
That's
hers
a
by
4 legs.
rods, so she could duplicate his steps precisely. Her microphone was also controlled from below stage, also by a rod.
I'm also not trying to get copyrights, so I gotta fast forward. The original Max Rebo. I love it.
Pack-up night in the creature shop turned into a farewell party. Came the dawn. Time to go.
Hey, did you hear that? We're going England! Oh my hands, you get your silk ties! Hey, anybody know what in-flight movie is? Oh, I hope it's rated.
Their destination? Elstree Studios outside London, where Jabba's palace stood empty and waiting for them to land.
Must have been bored on the flight or something like that.
Hello, in GD land.
Or maybe before the flight. I doubt they could, like,
They were a bit disoriented
do
at
that
first.
on the flight.
Even Salacious B. Crumb, Jabba's right-hand bird. Tim Rose spoke for him.
Hey, Edgar, what'd you bring me to a place like this for? Look at all these freaks around here. It's really disgusting. That one over there, I don't even know what it is. Can't tell what's the head and what's the tail. Ugh.
Just about 20 minutes
And
into
that
from
Jabba
Star
guy.
Wars to Jedi, the
Old
making
Big
of the
J,
saga.
as we call him around here.
So
Well,
anyone's
he's
along
the
and
worst
wants
of all.
to know what I'm watching.
Jabba was certainly the hardest of all to
Oh, here's the first concept
George
of
said his
Jabba.
first design looked
Clay
too
sculpted, which is really cool.
Second try, too snail-like. Number 3 was just right. Jabba was the largest, most complex puppet ever built for a movie. He was constructed the same way the smaller creatures were. His head and neck had to accommodate 2 main operators. They would be joined for most shots by other puppeteers located elsewhere on Jabba's body. Jabba's eyes and some of his facial muscles were radio controlled by 2 more operators. Stuart Freeborn headed the team that executed Phil Tippett's designs in England. It took 3 months to build Jabba, and he cost close to $500,000.
In the film Star Wars, there was a scene with Jabba himself, and he was always intended to be this loathsome, large, monstrous creature. But it wasn't possible to incorporate my design of Jabba when we shot the scene with the actors on the set. So I came up with the idea of shooting the scene with a man, and eventually I would mat in a stop-motion creature over the man.
This is the scene George shot for Star Wars, but decided not to finish.
Right here, Jabba. I've been waiting for you.
Have you not?
You didn't think I was going to run, did you?
Ah, my boy. There are times you disappoint me. Why haven't you paid me? Why did you have to fry poor Greedo like that? After all they've been through together.
Look, Jabba, next time you want to talk to me, come see me yourself. Don't send one of these twerps.
Han, understand. I just can't afford to make exceptions.
When it came to Jedi, I was able to redesign the
About
monster.
22 minutes into this, if anyone's trying to watch along, from Star Wars to Jedi, making a saga. Or, sorry.
This way I was able to
The making of a saga, rather, sorry.
Make him an even more interesting character than he had originally been designed in the first film.
Jabba needed a lot of help getting around. Finished, he weighed over 2,000 pounds. He also needed help getting himself, not to mention his act, together. Here's a working drawing of Jabba, showing where his heart and soul, his operators, were located.
I operate Jabba's right arm and the jaw of his mouth. And I do the voice at the moment to make the lip sync. And between Toby and myself, we do the body movements, working with the whole figure.
Yeah, I'm the silent breaker, so I do the left hand and the tongue. And that goes in here, and my right hand is free inside the head. And basically works this head control to be left and right, front and back, up and down. I have one other control that can swivel the head, revolve it. And for certain shots, I have things like the tongue here, and the hand goes. I have a couple of cable controls that do snarls around the mouth. And using my feet and the weight of my body, I share with David the job of actually moving the body about.
These hand controls here, these two operate the switches around corners of the mouth, middle of the mouth, lower jaw, also the nostrils.
23 minutes into Star Wars to Jedi, the making of the saga. Free on YouTube. 23 minutes in. If anyone wants to watch it.
Cigars for Jabba when he smokes his pipe. I blow it up the tube, and it trickles out of the corner of his mouth. If I was drinking port, it would be a perfect job.
Now this is the middle part of the tail. And this little bit is the little end piece, which the way I move it depends on the mood he's in at the time. If he's in a bit of an irritable mood, I just do the little flips like you banging on fingers if you're losing your temper or impatient. Or if he's really losing his temper, he's going to have a good old thrash on like that, or backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And if he's in a lazy mood, just keep it like that, nice steady movements. I tell you, Jabba's getting very good. He's getting very good. He's almost a star. Okay. We have to be very nice.
I like this tattoo.
He is what he is. That's the thing. He doesn't pretend to be anything else. He doesn't feel the need to be charming or anything. He's just an unpretentious, very straightforward guy.
Sure. Whatever you say, Carrie. Whatever you say.
10 puppeteers and 9 mime artists, along with 42 extras and 18
Mime
principals,
artists.
supported by a crew of 90, worked almost a month to make this sequence. Communication between the masked players, Jabba's hidden operators, and the rest of the cast and crew was a problem. A makeup person was assigned to Jabba full-time. Relatively speaking, the rest of us required much less attention.
We don't know. He's now got the idea, so he knows how to get very well. On a shot of your two hands doing that, just some Yeah, I'm thinking they got work there. Yeah, I'll do it without moving my mouse with you. So I don't.
Sorry, mate, you just a little program smoke, please. Yes, please.
So 26 minutes into Star Wars The Jedi, the making saga for me on YouTube right now. If anyone wants to watch along. He said from Star Wars The Jedi. Just type that in and
Jabba's operator spoke his lines in English. His awesome voice, speaking Huttese, was added later.
Your mind powers will not work on me, boy.
Nevertheless, I'm taking Captain Solo and his friends. You can either profit by this or be destroyed. It's your choice, but I warn you not to underestimate my power.
Master Luke, you're standing on...
like I said, this is on YouTube for free. I'm not watching the actual
Especially for
movie.
the actors working under the mask. When there wasn't time to unmask, cool air was blown in.
Okay, I think I'll survive for a while. No, the floor drops away. I just go into a tactic roll. The most dangerous part.
So, George and his staff studied temporary shots in the editing room.
So 28 minutes in now. 28 minutes in from Star Wars The Jedi. Free on YouTube. If anyone wants to watch along. 28 minutes.
Here is the truck has to be able to take. Taking it like here, where we got the fish right in there, and the mouth just starts to come down on it.
Just watching some behind the scenes
Turn
actions.
around and look at Luke.
Cool.
And then, as he's looking, the hand is sort of dangling out his own, and then, he's chewing as he turns. And he, slurps it up, gobbles it up, and disappears. Yeah. And then starts to move forward.
Art director Joe Johnston sketches the new ideas. From his sketches, Joe created a storyboard for Phil Tippett, who played the Rancor in his early incarnation. Yes, that's still underneath that rubber suit. Dennis Murin directed miniature special effects photography. His colleagues, Richard Edlund and Ken Ralston, did our space shots. The technique for animating a classic fairy tale situation, the dragon in his lair, is itself a classic. It was used in Japanese monster movies like Godzilla. The filmmakers hoped to improve it enough to use it in the final film, especially Phil, who found his role inspiring. In the end, though, the Rancor's cave was reduced to snugger proportions. It was about 30 inches high. The Rancor himself was scaled down to an 18-inch puppet. Phil's hand animated his head. Rods moved the rest of his body. He was photographed in slow motion, so his movements would appear massive and menacing. The Rancor is a sleight-of-hand trick created by expert magicians for a medium that is literally quicker than the eye. In Arizona, George Lucas' stately pleasure barge to Creed. It was probably the biggest set ever built for a movie location. It was to be the site of our final showdown with that vile gangster, Jabba the Hutt. The barge itself was 212 feet long and 80 feet high. Close to 100 workmen labored 4 months to build the barge. Preparation of the site began a year before we arrived. Okay. Yet it would appear on film, a bit here, a piece there, for only a couple of minutes. All of this effort illustrates one of George's basic filmmaking principles.
One of the fatal mistakes that almost every science fiction film makes is that they spend so much time on the settings creating the environment, that they spend film time on it. And you don't have to spend so much film time to create an environment. What they're doing is showing off the amount of work that they generated. And it slows the pace of the film down. The story is not the settings, the story is the stories, plot.
In the Star Wars world, we have our own way of telling a story, very rapidly.
Mistakes that almost every science fiction film makes is that they spend so much time on the settings, creating the environment, that they spend film time on it. And you don't have to spend so much film time to create an environment. What they're doing is showing off the amount of work that they generated. And it slows the pace of the film down. The story is not the settings, the story is the stories, plot.
Oh, he's been shoot.
In the Star Wars world, we have our own way of telling a story, very rapidly.
It didn't even sound like Han. Yeah. First time really realizing that. I've seen that scene like almost 100 times. But, I'm not trying to get copyright. Like I said, this is free on YouTube. This is from Star Wars: The Jedi, the making of a saga. I'm gonna fast forward a bit. I don't know why it's playing like a movie.
We sometimes slow down to catch our breath, to reflect on the astonishing beauty of a magic world, but not for long.
Admiral, we're in position.
All groups assume attack coordinates.
In his mind, George was jumping to hyperspace long before he visualized the process for the rest of us.
I've always been fascinated in speed because of my interest in cars and racing. And since I enjoy that, I enjoy the sensation of racing along at high speed. That has been an element in the films.
Never more vividly than Jedi space battle.
Item coming in.
In the end, it's just each film is a new challenge in trying to explore the idea of telling a story cinematically and giving less and less exposition and having the pace be such that you can have impressions of images thrown on top of each other without and get a whole new sense of a story or a feeling.
An early and excellent example of this impressionistic style, Star Wars gunport sequence.
also not actually watching the movie. This is free on YouTube. This is from Star Wars The Jedi. Anyone's trying to watch along too. I'm 35 minutes and 30 seconds along in now, so.
Television commercials. Younger people are more and more able to discern and understand the visual language. I think part of that process in experimenting with Star Wars is, and also Raiders of the Lost Ark, is that ability for people to perceive and digest information rapidly.
In the trenches, the climax of Star Wars, the images and the information piled up at a dizzying pace.